Let's take a look at all these Mortal Kombat games that we have. Just the whole history of this franchise. And let's talk about how you get re-releases. I'm not even talking about remakes, remasters. I'm just talking about simple ports to a new system. You gotta go over history. You've got some backwards compatible entries. I don't know about the PlayStation 3, but the Xbox 360 can run Deception, Armageddon, Shadow Monks. No Deadly Alliance though, which is weird. Although they had done a PS2 collection that did not have Deadly Alliance, it had their spin-off games. So I guess they were more concerned about the more recent games. You know, Shadow Monks sucks, but anyway. You know, a collection like that brought to a new console, because that was just for the PS2, that was just for the console they originated on. It was just a bundle to get all free. A pretty rare one, I think, but yeah. If they did that for like a modern console, though, if we did with the actual 3D era trilogy, you know, Daylight, so Shadow Monks, that could be something. Hell, you could split up off most of these into their own little trios of games, I suppose. You know, you have the original three games, which they did. This is the only real non-import, and it only happens to the original games. You know, you'll get them ported into versions of the PS2 era games. You know, like Special Edition Armageddon, for example, that has UMK3 for some reason. It's just built in the game. You have UMK3 in the game. Shadow Monks is like MK2, I think. And there's other examples they did a lot. And then there's like a DS port of one of the MK3s, probably UMK3, which also had puzzle combat. So Baraicho is in a UMK3 port. Don't question it. So they've done a lot of stuff with the arcade games, including an arcade collection that was digital only for Xbox 360 and PlayStation 3. And it's very rare to get, and it's pretty much impossible to get now because the stores are fucked. You know, a lot of stuff is delisted, and the store itself is going down next year. And also, yeah, it just wasn't physical. It didn't have that collector's feel, and it was just a terrible port in general. And that's kind of it. That was the last one we got, which I'm surprised we got under NetherRealm. But it was like around the MK9 times where they were really sucking off the OG days, which aren't great. You know, like they're crappy arcade titles. I don't know what to tell you. And then even another arcade entry, MK4, completely neglected, which is just a shame, you know. I get it's kind of associated, but maybe sub on. The problem with MK4 is when I mention these trilogies, MK4 really doesn't fall into that. You could count it as like this transitional phase alongside Mythology Sub-Zero and Special Forces, which isn't on this collage like pose, but MK Gold is whatever. You could count them as a trilogy. But if we're talking about like re-releases, you probably just have all the spin-offs in a trilogy. The problem is people don't really care for two of them. You probably have to market that one down a significant amount. Or, you know, maybe just include the spin-offs as like a bonus fourth game. I think Mythologies and Shadow Monks have enough content to just justify being added to the price. But like Special Forces, yeah, you're not going to boost the price or rate the quality of your port with Special Forces. It'd probably be more like a neat bonus. And I prefer playing that game to the Shadow Monks, but clearly I'm in the minority, and it has the least amount of content and stuff to do. But yeah, just like for preservation's sake, yeah, you could throw them in some way. There's no real right or wrong way to do this. There's just ways of preserving the history of a game and just re-releasing them. The only real wrong way to do it is to, like, just overprice the fuck out of your packages. but also you're gonna get your money for like say they did the equivalent of Mario 3D All Stars, but it's with the 3D trilogy, and it's like 50 quid. It like just bang full price. It's still like peak Mortal Kombat in terms of like single player content, and like maybe they add online support to that. Then yeah, it's still worth that price. Regardless of the age of the game, you're getting £50 worth of content that still holds up pretty well. So yeah, I wouldn't mind that. Of course, if you do packages like this, it makes adding online support difficult. Whereas if you chose like a sole thing, like Deception, you pull over the GameCube version and you add online to it, that'd be cool. How do they would never do this, but Mesa's UMKD mod, the one that adds a bunch of characters and even a few stages to Deception, that would be a great thing to have as an actual re-release to include so many characters to the roster, which is already a pretty stacked roster, even without any of like the exclusives like Korra Shao Kahn. You have like a very standout selection. And it's 24 characters, so it's like the amount of a base roster more than the one we have in the new game. So the quantity is there regardless. But yeah, if you had a collection, online support would be trickier because you've just dropped 3 games at once. So it's going to be hard to find matches for that. They did it for the arcade games, but yeah, you might have a bit of a dead online if you do that. Especially like cross-play or cross-platform, which they don't do because they're allergic to spending money to allow cross-platform to happen, unfortunately. And yeah, it'd probably be best to just focus on one for that. Or I suppose you could have like one matchmaking that just randomizes the game, but that'd probably be too weird. With the 3D era and like the classic era, it could work just because of they're very similar style to each other. But that'd probably be a bit jarring. Like you're going from playing Deadly Alliance Reptile to like fucking Tarius in Deception to, I don't know, someone in Armageddon. There's a lot of characters. It'd probably be too much to to learn for online if it just kept randomizing it. And there's a big enough player base, big enough community who'd want it. You could probably still get pretty popular online for the individual ones, but it would definitely be lower. But yeah, definitely like just a port of the game, except there's newfound online support. That's basically all I want for like any of these games. I think that'd be pretty sick. Of course, with version games like Deception on again, where they get a later port that has more content, throw that one into MK Gold as well. Maybe you do some bug fixing for certain ones. You wouldn't have to for the 3D era ones. I can't think of anything significant. You wouldn't have to do balance changes because a lot of the bugs with gameplay that made it broken, like OTGs, and they just balance damage and frame data and stuff. So the actual GameCube port of Deception's like pretty bad. So you get the extra characters. So yeah, that's a plus. And then just give online something that it didn't have originally, and that'd be cool. Like the only things I can think of are like noticeable glitches that aren't just like old game is that like the Golden Desert music is wrong in the GameCube version. I think I don't know why I'm thinking that. It seems like I'm pretty sure I'm right, but I can't confirm. But yeah, maybe that's partially too, but really you don't have to. You can just kind of chuck these out ports, and it's not similar to just throw your game into a new console, but it's undeniably going to be easier in most cases than making a new game. And, let's look at Mortal Kombat 12. this seems somehow found its way onto the Switch. And you know, I when I was thinking of, I'll make a video about like policy, dude, I was thinking of the Nintendo Switch in mind, where you focus on retro titles. It's a thing Star Wars does as well with their games. They give Switch like all these retro titles to compensate for the lack of new titles. But here's the funny thing. The Switch has the newest title, but PlayStation 4 and Xbox One doesn't. It's the next-gen game that they tried to make it work on Switch, and it doesn't. And, you know, the people made MKLM, which is like the most impressive Switch port, in my opinion. I think it runs very well. Outside of the crypt, like, it's very impressive. But clearly the switch to Unreal Engine 4 and the cameo system, it's just too much for the Switch. Even so, it's ridiculous how this even got released, in say so. Because despite all like the corners they cut with like graphics and stuff, it does not achieve a stable 60 frames per second because the cameo mechanic, where you're just throwing characters onto the screen, that cuts your frames in half. I'd rather a consistently 30 FPS game than 60 FPS. If like you get a noticeable chop if a camera shows up, which that's the game's main gameplay mechanic. It happens a lot. It seems less noticeable in updates, and I'm kind of like checking out. Not because I'm enticed to buy this port, even though the Switch is my main console, but like the state of the game, the state of the port. You know, it's not even just the port. Like I think the game it's in general, with like its microtransactions and lack of content and all the overpriced DLC garbage, I think that's a bigger issue than the actual Switch port. You know, if it's a fucking desirable game, I'd get it in any state, but it's not. And I can get a lot of playtime playing a bad Mortal Kombat game, but I don't want to give NetherRealm money for this, especially when you can just wait for a complete edition. And even then, I don't think I'd want it. Because, like, of all the Time Crystal Store exclusives, that probably won't even be included in the complete edition. It's stupid. I think everyone knows that. No one really spoiled it, but just in general. I genuinely sure to see the price of stuff. Cameo DLCs are £4 a piece. So, yeah, what the fuck? In MK9, MKX, MK11, the Injustice games, it was £5 per full complete character. And you know, X and 11, they had variation systems and stuff. And you had like all the customization like Injustice 2. So you had these complete characters, and it's just £1 more than cameos in this game. Little assists are just little special move packages. Now, Tremor has a lot because fighting styles based between it's not even variation, it's because you swap the variation in game. It's like a shitty mini fighting style that just changes 2 special moves at a time. It's very funny. Kind of cool, but when cameos do so little, it doesn't really matter. Like it matters in gameplay, they're important to gameplay, of course. But it, like, when you look at this and you're like, oh, I want to buy a cameo, and you're like, they only have like a couple of special moves. I don't see the point. There's no customization. Tremor's model looks like shit. Dude has like a tree bark texture instead of rock, and then like for his costume, it's the same costume that they've used for 4 other cameos in this game. Half your like not half, like a third of your cameo roster is just reusing this costume from MK11. The first DLC character in MK11 released alongside the classic MK2 skin pack. And for the first DLC character in Mortal Kombat 12, he releases alongside that same skin for a cameo that's £4. Why? Just do something different. Trevor never even wore the MK2 costume. He's never even this skinny. I digress. Realize it's just not worth it. The models are cheaply put together, so I don't think they're worth much. Clearly not this one. So it's just down to the actual gameplay. And in that case, it's just a few extra special moves. It replaces variations in the sense that you're just selecting your extra special moves on top of your core moveset. Which in that case, they shouldn't come at an extra cost, right? Because you weren't paying extra for like the characters when they had variations, which meant that movesets had more depth, more options. Like MK11, you're buying a DLC card, you get 4 skins with 10 palettes. That's more palettes than this game gives you for one skin, in Omni-Man's case. You have all the intros, you have all the outros, you have more brutality, you have more taunts. And then you have, like, for Shang Tsung, you have, like, 10 equipable special abilities. Like, there's just more bang for your buck, and it's cheaper because they fucking inflate the prices. Like, that's ridiculous. The fact that something like that is just £1 more than trying here. Like, I'm not even talking about, like, long ago. This was the previous entry. The previous entry that runs better, has more content, and even then, I think it has significant issues. But it looks like a masterpiece compared to this game. And it makes you think, you know, especially with the Switch port, why bother? Because I don't think people are stupid enough to buy all their microtransaction bullshit and their like overpriced characters separately. They'll buy the Kombat pack, sure. Everyone does. because it contains characters like Quan Chi and Ermac that are meant to be base roster. So people are going to want it because it feels like they have an incomplete game. It's just shitty, especially when they like include the characters on the select screen. Like they don't add them on when you buy them. Like it just dangles that you have an incomplete roster here. Why are you playing this game without the complete game? You've got to show another £35 to us, and then they'll just release a complete edition that just has like a package deal for like the price of one DLC pack, and it just invalidates everything you purchased beforehand. So if you've been around MK, like MK11, and you know not to buy this stuff this early, it's a bargain bin game. And even at that, you gotta put your hand on your chin and really think about whether you want to buy this game, especially for Switch. And it just makes you think. Like, of course they're gonna do the next game for next gen, sure, but like for the last gen, of course, includes Switch in this. Wouldn't it have just been easier and more profitable to just include like a port of something, maybe a remaster? It doesn't really matter. But just like a popular entry, like one of the 3D games, because those are old games, but they have the content to keep you around. Plenty of it. More content than any other MK game. You know, Deception is like 4 games in one. Like, have all that. Have online. Like, yeah, people are probably going to get that because it would probably be cheaper and there'd be no microtransactions. You get a complete game with more content than MK12 for less of the price. And then people would probably realise, hey, the 3D era gameplay is pretty fun because you get all the interactables and shit and all the fight styles, all the different mechanics, add a ton of depth to the gameplay. And then people are just going to go, oh, I'll play this game more. I'll learn the game. I'll play it online. You know? Like the 3D games can really just hold up like that. You could just have it in its place as, oh, you want an extra Mortal Kombat game? Here you go. Or simply, we don't have to talk about retro titles for the Switch. Switch is lacking in any Injustice game, has no Injustice 2, because it released like the same year as the Switch itself. And it has no MKX. The 2 games of that generation it's on, that I assume we don't count Switch as next gen. I know released like like after Xbox, PlayStation. I guess we use like part of that generation, but like the Switch is as powerful as a 360, so I don't. I think it's like in its own class. But yeah, it doesn't have MKX, which would be very easy to put on Switch. Like, it can handle those graphics, and it doesn't have Injustice 2, which would be a challenge to bring over, but they did it for MK11. They could do it for Injustice. So I feel it's weird to have those 2 absent, and then they're just moving on next game, which makes sense to look forward, get your newest entry. But when it looks like this, people aren't gonna buy that. People are not that stupid. You know, again, it's actually the history of this game and what its overpriced DLC prices. And now we've got microtransactions. People are just going to hold off on it. They've already put this game on sale. It is underperforming. NRS never, most companies never put their game on such a significant sale as early as this one. The game's only like less than 2 months old, and you already got like 30% off. And like retailers are already like cutting the price in half for the Switch port. It's bad. It's not doing well. You would get better results, like probably not in sales overall, because people are gonna get the new thing. But overall, like critically, combined with however you're gonna make for like how much effort it actually takes to make these ports, you're gonna do a lot better if you just focus on that. You know, like you can have your new game and then simultaneously, instead of focusing on fucking Onslaught or NK Mobile. Okay, MK Mobile probably makes a lot of money because it's been around for years. There are probably stupid people who really like the gacha games. Onslaught does not, though. It doesn't even run for most people. So that project should have never happened. I don't think that's a hot take. In fact, it took a whole dedicated team, apparently. Like, focus on just, like, you know, monetizing your older games. Like, if you want to look at it from, like, a business money standpoint, you can get a lot of money when you have all these extra ports. So there's more stuff for players to buy, and there's just more options in general. Like, obviously, you're not going to throw in DLC for your old games. If it was a game that had DLC, you'd just include a complete version. But yeah, you can just sell it for whatever price, and then people would buy it, and people would probably like it because it's easy to optimize all these gold games because they could run on any of your current consoles, right? Like anything before 11. If 11 can run on Switch and any of the previous entries absolutely can. And you probably wouldn't have to cut back on any of them, except maybe X, but like, I don't think X, you need to change much. So yeah, I think it's a true waste. And it's probably should be for the 30th anniversary of Mortal Kombat. They did nothing. The only thing we knew was there's an Amazon listing that combined a 2021 live action movie with, I can't even remember what, but it was like some shitty bundle. And then Ed Boon had the gall to deny that existed and it wasn't real. And then it turns out that was all. And weirdly enough, when they had their 30th anniversary video, they listed Defenders of the Realm and Mortal Kombat 1. They just listed them as like part of games available now. They're not available now. I'm pretty sure Defenders of the Realm was not put to any streaming services, to my knowledge. And there was no MK1 port. That never happened. So I don't know what happened there. And also, if that was what they were going to do, that's still pretty pathetic, but they couldn't even do that. It is sad. It is fucking sad. Like, one of those, you purchased Midway. Like, let's talk about all the other Midway games. I can't because I don't know many. But they've got a lot of other IPs that weren't just like tied into like another company, like the TNA game. You can't do another one of those because TNA is a separate company. But they have a lot of just their original IPs that they do nothing with. They bought their whole library and they've done nothing with it. Absolutely nothing other than like continue Mortal Kombat because that's the most profitable one. Makes sense. But they have wasted a lot of opportunities to just make ports. Just do the old stuff. People will buy it. People will go, oh, this is cool. I'm going to try it out. I'm going to check it out. Like, come on. I really don't know what one. Hell, it took forever for MK9 to come backwards compatible. MK is DC2. So those two games I'm really concerned, other than like doing a Switch port because it's not on Switch, because you had that era where just Nintendo was not getting anything Mortal Kombat, which people don't really think about, but like, yeah, Mortal Kombat's been a big like Nintendo game series. You know, like a lot of the big ports of the old games are the Nintendo console ones. Those are a lot of the main ways to play certain MKs. and yeah, like after Armageddon, they just didn't get anything. I don't know. I guess it's just inability to run. Like, we came out. Armageddon went on the Wii. We would not be able to run MK9 much colour. It could probably handle the graphics, but I don't know how you'd get a game like that to work. Actually, no. It'd be easier in the 3D era games to do the motion controls. What am I talking about? They could have done it, I think. But, yeah, I don't know why. But they weren't made for Nintendo until MK11, which was like its big return and a successful one. And it is cool that they wanted to keep going with Nintendo with the new game. They still wanted to give Nintendo players that experience, but it's just not feasible. Just give us a Armageddon port, please, because that shit's very expensive for Xbox. I don't know why. Like, I'll fucking take anything. I'll take anything that runs well, please. It's just such a shame that a franchise with so much history just gets nothing. Like, it should be like a mandatory standard that you get that arcade collection in all your gens of consoles. It should just be regularly available. Hell, I feel you could probably throw in some of the old ones in like the Nintendo Switch Online thing. I don't know how much money they get from like agreeing to a next service. Probably not much, but would it take a lot to make with a lot of versions of the arcade games to pull from? You have like the GBA one, like Put Tournament Edition. I don't know. Like, there's stuff they can do. There's stuff they could do. With a Nintendo exclusive, where it's just on all consoles in general. Just give more options, make it more accessible. You get more money that way, and you're not just constantly like working to the bone on just making new things that are overpriced, and people are just sticking to like MK11 or MKX for like their online game experience, and people are going even further back because people just want to stay with MK12. That's not everyone, but that's a good majority are playing MK11 and MKX right now. And of course it's just like the fact that those games just go on sale anyway. But a lot of people just don't want to move on until the complete edition of stuff. So I don't know. It's just weird. I feel they are missing this whole market here of just so many games. You've got just so many, and you'd get money because Mortal Kombat is the name that sells. A lot of these old games are very popular, very successful at their time, so a lot of people might just come back to the franchise. I feel a lot of people. It wouldn't be any like incredible major success, but when you're considering it's just a port with maybe some online service stuff, it wouldn't be tricky to do. It would run well on anything, and you just get a lot of sales because more Kombat. Like, you get millions for sure, regardless of what it really is, I'd imagine. Yeah, that's about it. I think if I just keep going, I'll be rambling on, but yeah, it's just super strange. I want to talk about it because it's on my list of things to do videos of. So yeah, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Let me know what you think. What ports do you want? Like what would you want brought over into like the current game gens? Maybe you want a remaster or something. I don't know. I don't really think any game really needs a remaster outside like maybe MK4. It'd be cool to get a remaster, but I think at that point then you're probably putting too much effort in because people probably want more of the classics. I know a lot of people want MK9 remastered. Like, what? I know it's over 10 years old, but like, there's so many older Mortal Kombat, so that'd be a terrible choice. So yeah, that's about it. See ya.